honor, celebrate, promote. This is the mantra of the Avalonia Film Festival, a film festival you can trust. Low entry fees and a website that actually honors, celebrates, and promotes you and your work as a filmmaker, photographer, or an actor. Go to their website, www.avaloniafestival.com, and see why they are a Film Freeway Top 100 Best Reviewed Film Festival several times over. You can find them again at filmfreeway.com by doing a search of Avalonia Festival. Avalonia, it's spelled Avalonia. And if you use the promo code Porch in all caps, you get an extra 17% discount on all your entries. So guys, basically this is a really great festival. It's great for actors. If you got a reel or something like that, you did a monologue, you want to show it off. Obviously great for filmmakers who made a movie, wrote a movie, produced a movie, short films. You get it out there, and this is a great place for people to see your work, and it's cheap. And if you use the promo code Porch, you can get a little bit of a discount there. So check out the Avalonia Film Festival. If you made a short film and you're looking for a place to put it, you know, a lot of people make a movie and then they don't know where to go with it. Here's a great place to go. And again, if you use the promo code Porch, you get a little discount. And it's kind of a nice segue because today we're talking about a short film that went on to do really well at a few film festivals in its own right. So, Daryl, take us in.
What's going on, everybody? Episode 8 of The Porch. This week, we're changing speeds. We're getting into production. And we're here always with Tom Denucci. And we're going to talk about his first film that he produced called Wired for Sound, which is a comedic short. And with that, Tom, how you doing? Welcome back.
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. It's good to be back on the porch with you, talking movies. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to do a watch-along. We're actually going to take a look at this movie and kind of do a little commentary. It's been a while for me. Daryl just watched it. You know, if you guys have been following the show, you know it's tradition. He checked it out at the gym. He did his thing
this morning.
That's his tradition. We keep it consistent.
I like it to be fresh.
Yeah, you know, it's right in his mind. And I don't like to watch the shows. I like to kind of just like have it be a memory, and then, you know, we're going to get to watch it now. So I haven't checked this out in a long time. It's probably been a couple of years. This one came out in 2016. We shot it in the winter of 2015. And, you know, it's a great story because basically this is one of those things where my friend Anthony Figueroa, who goes by J. Antonio Figueroa when he directs films, he had this idea for a while, and we were kind of on set of, I think it was the Infected reshoots, and he was kind of hanging around and helping us out, and we were, you know, kind of all just like putting away equipment one day towards the end of a shoot, and he just like told us the idea, and it was just like the general idea, almost like it was like a joke, like with a punchline. Like, imagine if, you know, there's this guy, and he's an actor on a movie set, but he's wearing a microphone, and he accidentally, you know, he's like so freaked out because he messes something up that he's like needs to get high to like calm down, and oops, by accident, he, you know, these drug dealers find out that he has this wire on, and oh my god, they think he's an FBI informant, and of course they happen to be, you know, moving a big amount of drugs that day, so nice. they're on extra heightened sense. So, you know, it's one of those things where horrible timing,
yeah.
Horrible situation, complete, you know, confusion, total mistake, gone, you know, drug deal gone really bad. So Anthony had this idea, and he kept talking about it, and, you know, finally, like, he put it down on paper, he wrote it, and we had made Almost Mercy, and I had a little bit of downtime, and, you know, he basically said, like, you know, Tom, what do I got to do to actually make this thing? Like, what do you think? And I was like, hey, man, you know, if you can get together, probably not a ton of money, probably like, you know, under, you know, I'm talking like single-digit thousands. If you get some money together, then, like, I'd actually be able to, like, get you a couple of, like, really solid crew people to come in and take your idea off the page and make it so that it has that extra level of production value. You know what I mean? So that it, you know, you bring in the professional sound person, bring in the professional production designer, bring in the obviously the DP that, you know, has an idea of, you know, lighting and things like that, and you can kind of put together a small group that people that can kind of straddle the line, do a little bit of everything.
Right.
If you can put together that right 5 or 6 people, you can do the whole movie for very inexpensively. If you're only going to do it for a couple days, as a short film, you can bang it out in 2-3 days.
Right.
I think that's what we did. I think we ended up shooting it over the course of 3 days. So basically, Anthony was really kind of inspired by the idea that, like, okay, I can actually make this a reality. And what he did was he went out and he raised some money. He partnered up with his brother Joe, who, had always supported Anthony's career. I think the first time I met Anthony, it's kind of a funny story. Might as well tell that one real quick. I was working at the time for a filmmaker by the name of Michael Carenti. I was working in this, like, bread store. It was an old bread store that they shut down. When I say bread store, it's basically it was a bakery.
Like a bakery.
Bread store. They were at this bakery, and it was turned into this makeshift office where we would just kind of hang out and, do our thing and try and write movies and promote movies and things like that. And Anthony kind of had come in off the street, so to speak, just knocked on the door and was like, "Oh, what's going on in here?" He saw the movie posters, big movie fan. He was with his brother Joe at the time, so that's kind of funny. And they introduced themselves, and Anthony was like, "Yeah, I'm interested in filmmaking." And he had kind of started doing the same thing that I did. He started interning with Michael and coming around and learning the business a little bit. So it was one of those things where Joe had always kind of been in Anthony's corner. Literally the first time I met Anthony, he was with Joe, and they were kind of like looking into this movie thing and seeing what it's all about. And it was cool to see Joe kind of get behind Anthony's idea. And, when I say get behind it, that's just a nice way of saying, like, be willing to plank down some money.
Right.
And obviously Anthony put his own money into it, and they kind of split the bill, raised a little bit of cash, and I think we had a $7,000 budget to make this movie, which was going to be more than enough for what we had to do. But we wanted to do this right, we wanted to make sure that, everything was kind of taken care of, and we had proper people at every department head. The shoot was going to be safe. We were going to be ensured that everything, goes right. So we kind of went right into it. And what we did was we brought on basically a modified version of the Almost Mercy crew, like just a few of the key people, like John Del Ponte came in. We've talked about him a bunch of times. I believe our old sound wizard Joe Cantor came back, and we had Marissa Gianmarco, who's now she got married about a year or two ago. I think her name's, I can't pronounce the last name. I always mess this up, but I think it's Swaya. But she's an incredibly talented makeup artist. And, we just had a lot of the key people come back. And, I'm probably forgetting a couple. Oh, of course, Sam Eilertson shot the movie. He was the DP. And, we kind of just put this together and moved it really quickly. Actually, I'm thinking now, I don't think Joe Cantor was on this movie. I think for some reason he couldn't do it. So scratch Joe Cantor off the list. But I'm just so used to him being on.
Right, he's been on pretty much everything.
Yeah, he's been on a lot of these podcasts. But it's one of those things where we got it together and started casting it. And Anthony had a lot of like great kind of casting ideas. He put together this very interesting cast. Kind of all led off of this one Instagram guy who's like this, Jay Ramirez, who was very successful on Instagram. And Anthony had watched his stuff, and he had done a lot of these, sketches and short videos, and he would play these crazy characters and, like dress up like a woman and play like an old lady and like just do funny things. And he's Dominican, and he was like huge in the Dominican, popped off big time, actually transitioned it into like a singing career.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's, talking like tons and tons of followers kind of guy. Had a legit following. But he's from Rhode Island, and he kind of had moved on since then. And, that's why social media is a funny thing, man. It's one of those things where Anthony kind of just reached out to the guy, and said, "Hey, I got this movie I'm directing, do you want to play this part?" And I guess Anthony had told me that he kind of, didn't pay too much attention to him too much. But, also kind of was interested, but was kind of like, man, I don't know, I'm doing my own thing. And then apparently several people that this guy knew, Anthony had also kind of knew some mutual friends, was like, oh, I really want to get a friend.
Use the network.
Exactly, use the network. And suddenly this guy had heard from like several different people like that, hey, you should do this movie, and this guy's really cool, he's a talented guy, I've seen his other stuff. Because Anthony had made a few other really cool kind of like, dark, edgy short films. So, boom, there it was. He finally agreed to do it. Did it for a pretty fair price, It was one of those things where he didn't try and bend anyone over the coals or didn't try and damage our budget too bad. So basically we had him on. He was an anchor. Then there was a group of guys by the name of, this guy Danny Kaba, who played the bad guy, was really cool. And, Anthony had seen him and this guy Ricky Cano's short movie. He had made this film. The two of them were in it together, so Anthony had seen that movie and kind of been like, "Ooh, I could use these two guys." And then Jose Gonzalez is in the film, who Anthony and Jose have gone on to collaborate in a lot of things together. He plays a really funny role that we're going to see. David Gear's in the movie. He plays a very funny role, and he's kind of like the swerve at the end, as I don't want to give it away, but so we're going to do the watch along shortly. Let's see, Tammy Brown was in the movie. She played this sound technician. Very funny, sharp part that she plays to kind of kick things off. Anna Rizzo was a production assistant. Allie Marshall was in there in the beginning of the short, and then of course Mike Zuccola, who plays the unsuspecting, wrong place, wrong time actor wearing a wire who was mistaken for an FBI informant. So basically, guys, we got together, we made this movie, we put it together, had Jonathan Schermerhorn. He was another guy that I forgot, thanks to the glory of the internet and IMDb. And it was actually, we had Steve Levin as a first assistant camera. Nick Norman was the Steadicam operator. Alright, I'm remembering all these people now as I scroll back. Jared Sparky Marmot was a set dresser. Gianna Del Copo, she was a prop master. Okay, so yeah, there was guys, it was almost as if we took, a quarter of, like, everyone I just named was on Almost Mercy. So it's kind of funny to see years later, you kind of forget, guys, you gotta remember, there's been like a lot of projects in between and stuff, and they all just meld together. That's why it's funny. Like, I was pretty damn sure Joe Cantor was in this crew, and then I look and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And yeah, it was this guy by the name of Ken McGill and Casey Preston, who, it's funny, like, I never worked with those two again. No harm was done. It was nothing bad happened. Just It's kind of one of those things, It's like being a kid when you're like playing like pickup basketball or something, like you go down to like the neighborhood court and like, yeah, you see some kids that you see all the time, and then sometimes there's remember that random redheaded kid who played one time or whatever and left. You
usually have your starting five, but sometimes you need an extra guy.
Yeah, and you're even like, oh, he was cool. We never saw him again.
Right.
So that happens in movies sometimes too, It really is just like, it's like The Sandlot sometimes making movies. It's like that one pickup game that never ends.
Right.
And people just kind of come and go. It's the same thing with a film crew, and you love playing with the same people every week, but, sometimes you need a third baseman, or you call someone up and, hey, is your cousin around? Can they play? So that's what we had going on. So it was really fun, guys. Like, this is the first movie that I produced. Anthony came to me with an idea and some ambition, and I thought it was funny since the first time I heard it. I said to myself, hey, you know what? This sounds like something that I want to be into. Anthony was proactive enough to, you can imagine, I've given that advice to a lot of people, when they come to me and say, hey, I got this idea, I want to make it into a movie, what do I do? And I've given that advice, like, well, man, like, how bad do you want it? Like, you got to save some money up. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, but it's not millions. I'm not trying to make anyone miss a house payment or a car payment. But it's like, if you want to make a movie, you probably need to think about seriously investing $5,000 to $8,000. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but is it?
In
Is
the
it
grand
really?
scheme, no.
For something that you believe in, that can be your calling card for life, it's not. You know, you spend $5,000 on, you know, a slightly nicer car or, you know, whatever, you know.
And it can lead to other things. It's like a real investment in your time.
It's a great calling card. You know, people ask me all the time, like, what do you think about short films? And I say, hey, listen, you know, try not to get stuck in a lifetime of making short films, because that can be a thing too. You know, I've seen people like, I'm not an expert. I can only tell you stuff that I've kind of picked up from my own personal experience, and these are all my opinions, and take them or leave them. But I've found that some people sometimes get caught in the quicksand of just always making short films, and what that can do is kind of diminish your chances of really going out and, okay, make a feature. How are you going to make a feature now? Like, that ultimately should be the next step. You should always be thinking about, like, how can I make a feature? And sometimes, you know, short films are great, but, you know, that's got to be the next step. But it all starts with putting together that first $5,000, $6,000, or in this case it was $7,000 all in, to hire some really solid people to help you take your vision and make it a reality. And that's what Anthony did. And like I said, I've given that advice to a lot of people, and a lot of people haven't taken it. You know, oh, that's too much money. What am I gonna do that? You know, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I'm like, well, listen, don't do it now. Save it up for a year. You know,
Right.
put together $100 a month for however long it takes, and you know, make it in 2 years. And hey, and I've even said this: by then, you'll have every shot storyboarded. You'll know exactly what to do.
Everything.
And just go make it. You know, like, but just be saving up for it. Do something. The truth is, man, like anything else in life, like you need to invest in yourself, and sometimes, you know,
Especially now, there's like
$7,000.
Kickstarter projects and everything like that. There's a lot of people that'll just throw money on your situation just to see you get it done.
That's absolutely true, and I gotta ask Anthony that if he did any crowdfunding. I don't know that he did. I think this was all kind of like him and his brother. But you're absolutely right. Like, that's how you open it up, because then, you know, for example, you know, then you could take that and be like, hey, look, this is what I did. Let's make this a feature, you know,
Right.
and then people would get behind it potentially. So basically, great cast. These guys were fun. Anthony got together and said, hey, you know, can you help me produce this? We're going to do a little bit of a breakdown of, you know, a lot of people ask me, like, what does a producer do? And it's a good question. You know, a lot of people, like, when you hear like that, oh, this person produced a movie, what does that mean? And the truth is, it can mean a number of things. It's a really ambiguous term. It can mean everything from you brought financing in. It could mean you brought talent to the table. Like, oh, you have this script, Daryl? Well, I can get it to The Rock.
Right.
You know, and if I get it to The Rock and he does your movie, I get a producer credit. You know, it's like a bargaining chip like that.
Right.
You could be an executive from a studio, and that could be just part of the deal. Like you know, this guy's one of the producers, or, you know, it could be something that was mandated from a previous draft. You know, like if this movie were to ever go into production, so and so would get a producer credit. It's really such a wide array. But in this case, I'd say like it was the traditional sense of what it means, you know, to produce, which is literally like, what does that word mean? It's like, well, it's kind of like create things, make things happen. Just make things happen. You know, that's what producers do. They produce things.
Right.
You know, so it's like, that's the job on this. You know, this was a very much, you know, I got to kind of get together a few people, like I said, the Almost Mercy crew. I got to talk about, okay, a location. You know, Anthony had a couple of different spots in mind. There was a TV studio in Cranston, basically like a public access station, where we figured, okay, well, we could definitely make that look like a movie set, like a back lot kind of a deal, where this young budding actor is presumably getting wired up, and here's the bad news that his scene got cut, and now he's all edgy and needs to get high, knows that he'll have a lot of downtime, calls a drug dealer, hilarious hijinks ensue. So we had that location, and we basically shot there for one day, and then our next spot was Anthony. Again, you know, people say like, well, where's all that money go? Well, you know, Anthony had to rent there was basically like a 2-bedroom apartment kind of a deal that was up for rent, and above it there was another unit, and it was one of those things where Anthony got some kind of a package deal where he got the lower level apartment for, that's where we're going to shoot. That was the set. And then the above level, there was another apartment, which would be for crew bathroom. You obviously don't want to be shooting. You want to be using the bathroom. A big no-no, you can imagine. Don't be using the set bathroom. If you're shooting scenes in the bathroom, nobody gets to use it. That's kind of got to be the rule. So basically, we also, obviously we used the upstairs to serve our meals and things like that. And it was great. We had a totally empty apartment up there at our disposal. So we had our apartment set. We had a couple scenes outside of the apartment. And then we had our, our TV studio set, which was our film set. So we were able to, in the 15 minutes that this movie runs, 16 minutes, we were able to kind of break it up into a few different kind of cool looking locations and keep things moving, keep people's eyes interested in what the hell they're watching.
Indeed. And like you said before, the multiple sets kind of give it a bigger feel budget wise. Like, they used multiple sets. They must have put a lot of energy and money into this.
Yeah, it makes you feel like maybe it was shot longer than
a little
2
more
days.
polished.
Yeah, exactly. You feel like you're watching, something that's real, for lack of a better word. All right, guys. So I think now's a good time to roll this thing. Here's how you can get it. Easiest way to find it. Here's how I found it. I just went to YouTube. I went to YouTube, and in the search bar, I punched in Wired for Sound short film. I hit boom. First one comes up. It's going to be Wired for Sound. You're going to see it. It's going to say 2016 on it. That's how you're going to know you get the right one. But like I said, Wired for Sound right in your YouTube search bar, and you'll get it. So we'll give you a second there to pull it up. And we're going to watch it together. Shut my laptop here. And count us off, Daryl.
Wired for Sound, short comedy film. And
give us a countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Hit play. Alright, so this was the apartment location. As you can see, it snowed like crazy.
Wow, yeah.
Like the day before. And we were like, what the fuck are we going to do? That's Ricky. That's Jay Ramirez right there. That's the Instagram comedian. Very funny guy. And, Anthony was able to get a lot of his just natural humor out in the part.
Yeah, he was definitely, just funny. He was a funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let me tell you something. Almost too funny on set. He was tough to rein in, but Anthony did a really good job of managing him. And it was his first time on a movie set. He had done a ton of videos, but this was like his first time on a true movie set. So it was fun to see him kind of get used to that too and see how he adapted to it. And he did a great job, man. This guy should do more acting. This was kind of an aggressive pull-in. Now, guys, they're talking about basically, he even pulled in like a cop. They think that this guy is a cop here.
Like, right from the beginning, they were like, this guy's a cop.
Yeah, and he's basically... This is Mike Zuccola. We've talked about him on the show before. Really talented dude. I've worked with him, on so many different projects. He's one of those guys that I always try to get in the mix. But you can see here, they're already feeling him up for the wire. And Ricky here... Ricky's suspect. Ricky's a little suspect here. Yeah, these guys were fun. And that reaction to the cold is 100% legitimate. These guys, it's tough to act out in the cold, man. I mean, look, we ain't bullshitting.
There's a lot of snow back there.
You can see a giant mountain of snow. It's really difficult to kind of keep your composure and keep those emotions intact while you're freezing. These guys did a great job. Boom! Wire for Sound. That's the hard open. 27 minutes earlier, there's Anna Rizzo. There's Marissa. I think that was the costume. I forget. That's Allie Marshall. The girl who walked by before, I think, was one of the costume designers, actually. And here's Tammy. Tammy's very talented. She was in Almost Mercy. And she's basically the sound person who's she's micing him up. And
what does that tattoo say?
It's like shadows and something.
Oh, I thought it said something about ducks.
You know, it does look. I can see how you could think that with the DU. Look at Mike's. He's got his Irish tattoo with the cross. He's right out of. Can you tell Mike's from Boston?
A little bit.
He's
got a Southie vibe.
Well, we always say that Mike is basically like a young version of Daniel Stern.
Okay.
That's our joke for him. He's just about ready to break into a house with a young version of Joe Pesci somewhere out there in the universe.
Nice.
But you can see here, guys, he's getting all wired up, and he's an actor, and this is his big debut, and he's got a bunch of lines in this movie, and here's the PA coming in, and guess what? Anna plays a great production assistant, and she basically delivers him the bad news that the majority of his scene has been cut. So this was his big debut, big break, all is well in his world, and then, oh shit, my scene's got cut. Basically, here's the new script. Here are the new pages. That happens, guys, in real life. Hey, here are the new pages. And it's like, where'd all my stuff go? Anna with a fun little smile, like she gets some kind of, like that production assistant gets a sick thrill out of cutting actors out. Like, fuck you. You always treat me like shit. That's kind of a fun little moment, because she probably gets shit on by actors all the time. So here's him flipping out to his agent. Mike is really great, and Anthony uses a great choice to use those jump cuts to kind of boom, 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 and get us to, oh man. You know what? He grabs his phone, and he says, well, hey, there's Sparky Marmot in the deep background. He always loves to get in there. He's an art guy with a name like Sparky Marmot.
That's a great name.
You got to get it. You got to just get him in the scene. There's Allie. Marshall walked by. I think her name was Gianna. It was my cameo, believe it or not. I'm in that gingerbread costume with John Del Ponte.
I recognized John. I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, we thought it would be really funny to have these gingerbread guys smoking, like the cute guys in the costumes to be smoking cigarettes in the back,
Just randomly.
Quick, we had self-storage with a cameo there. And see, here's the hardened drug dealers here. We got Jose Gonzalez on the couch, Danny Cava here. Danny had some really cool tattoos. I love that. He had that, like, leopard print tattoo. And this was the place, man. This was the apartment that we used for the set. Really nice design by... this is really funny to see. A little self-storage nod. But really nice design by John Del Ponte. Just a simple kind of place. I've been to a place or two like this.
Was that an Xbox One?
For research, and yeah, it might have been an X. No, I think it was is it a one? Maybe, I don't know. So note the gentleman sleeping on the couch. He's gonna kind of be a factor later. He factors in on the mix. And this is where he gets scared because he notices he's armed. That's unusual.
And that guy's ripping him on the couch too.
Yeah, he's farting. Now here we have our guys that we met in the beginning, who are very, very suspect of Mike. They already think he's a cop. And, it's one of those things where these guys, didn't really get to rehearse a whole lot. They got together and they were just really vibing off of each other really nicely, and good chemistry between Danny, Ricky, and Jay. More self-storage. So now he's really pissed off because, he's like, how could you let this cop in? I think you can even see there's an Army of the Damned poster. Nice bag of Coke. Nice brass knuckles. That was a really cool shot. That drawer. It's fun to see, like, what kind of stuff this guy has. And, you don't linger on it too much. You don't make a big deal out of it. your eye gets to see what it sees, you know it ain't good.
Right.
You
I
know?
feel like that scene kind of added some legitimacy too to like his drug dealer.
Yeah, you know he's a bad guy, and then boom, look at he just clocks him. He's not fucking around. Basically, they are not taking any chances, especially with, you can see now there's a wire on him. Now, guys, they can't even imagine that this dude is an actor. You know, to them that's like ridiculous to think that he'd be an actor. And that's not on their radar right now, right? At all. That's kind of a fun moment.
Little fuzzy handcuffs.
That is a fun moment. Really cool lighting here. Sam Allardson and Anthony came up with that lighting scheme to give it this kind of edgy, it's almost green, you know? It's like almost, you see like a lot of like, it just makes it's uncomfortable, you know? And here's Mike doing what he does best, you know, he's squealing around, he plays these great like characters in any kind of danger. He's just really good at playing. And obviously I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of Danny Caba or the character he's playing. Danny's actually a really, really nice guy. But
all bad guys are really nice guys, though.
He's built like a brick shithouse, obviously.
Right.
You wouldn't want to fuck with him.
He's in some shape.
Yeah, he's a big dude. And this is a great shot. This is one of my favorite shots in the movie right here. I mean, kind of just gets dragged, and this right here I love. Boom, and you're like, uh-oh. Really cool.
The scene reminded me of, was it Training Day?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, nice Training Day
feel.
For sure. I mean, you just would not want to be this guy right now. It's fun they took him in the shower. Like, you know, that'd be the easiest place to clean up a dead body. Of course, just throw the shower on, right?
Right.
Not that I've done this before. I've never done this before. Yeah, so great shot of Danny there. Kind of cool, like handheld camera action. See, that makes you uncomfortable. This is funny, you know. Basically, you know, this is where your lovable killers, you know. Oh, you're an actor? Well, good, act something.
Do some acting.
And he's got to, you know, do like a De Niro impression and things like that. And very clever writing by J. Antonio Figueroa.
It was a good De Niro impression, too. It wasn't bad.
It was good. Mike's a great actor, man. I just talked to Mike the other day. He shot me a little text.
He even got the face.
Yeah, he did the thing. But yeah, man, this is cool stuff. I mean, you kind of feel like these shots kind of make us feel like we're Mike. It's not quite his 100% POV, but it's close to it. They're just gonna ice him. And here that's basically where he presents him with this ultimatum. If you're really an actor, go ahead and act and prove it to us, or we will blow your head off. And he has to get into it. It's funny stuff, man. Mike Zugler really, you know, what was great about this was, you know, you see the legitimate fear in Mike's eyes too.
Yeah.
And it makes it feel like, you know, not just a slapstick SNL sketch.
Right, no, he looked like he was really scared.
A little bit bigger, which is fun. Meanwhile, puzzled Ricky Cano in the back, he had some really funny looks. And Jay Ramirez is really good at using his voice as like an instrument to like provide punch, you know,
right.
and accent certain parts of the dialogue. There's just De Niro. There's Mike Zuccolo, folks, doing the thing. And the guys are impressed. They like it. Look at Ricky. Ricky liked it. He thought it was pretty good. It's fun watching it without the sound. Believe it or not, this is like an editing thing. A lot of times, me and Sam Allardson would do this a lot. We watch stuff without sound because we could truly see like how the cuts are working without any distractions sometimes. I'm not saying we watch it all the time without sound, but we would sometimes do like a pass where we're like, let's just see how it looks without the manipulation of any audio. Sometimes you're like, oh, that's a little jarring here. We could probably do something. It's a fun transition that Anthony put in there. And here we go. David Gear, folks. Look who showed up to the party. We got our Picasso Pizza shirt on there. Picasso Pizza. That's our friend Ray Brooks. Good guy. Always hooked us up with pizza and things like that, and t-shirts if we needed them. And David Gear's a great actor, and he's a great character actor. He plays little different parts all the time. And this is just funny stuff. I mean, this poor bastard, talk about wrong place, wrong time.
Right.
David Gear just happens to roll in and just brought the pizzas, and now he's thinking everybody's a cop.
Yeah.
And he's legitimately just the dude who's got the pizza, because guess what? None of them ordered pizza. That's what it was in the story. And like, did you order pizza? Did you order pizza? And
no.
Nobody did. So now they really think he's, But then, our sleeping friend, it's his pizza. Now this is Jose Gonzalez. Really great dude. Been doing this for a long time. Talented actor. Real physical guy, as you can see. Jose's leaned out a lot now, but he was built like a brick shit house here. He's like a fucking mountain.
He's pretty jacked.
He's a fucking mountain here. So it was his pizza. And now it's like, they're gonna kill these poor guys. And things are all about to come to an exciting halt. Thank God this guy woke up.
Right.
If it weren't for, I think his character's name's Sleepy.
Could have been real messy.
They're about to ice him. Now there was this is the one guy that recognizes him from the show.
From a previous commercial.
Yeah, he had done one commercial, and that's a joke that we set up earlier. That he knew him from that commercial, but nobody else had seen him before. And then this is a fun little, this guy's trying to escape. Fun little ending. And then we set up the fact that these two have a secret lover kind of affair going on. Well, that's it, guys. Credits roll. And that right there is a lot of hard work, a lot of vision, a lot of believing in yourself. Put it together. I like these credits. The credit choice, the kind of font. It's kind of cool. But yeah, J. Antonio Figueroa put that one together, and his brother Joe, and it's a fun short film for you.
Yeah, it was really funny. I was laughing I was doing my cardio. People must have thought I was going crazy because I had the headphones on.
Oh, you were legit popping for it.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. Hey, we like that.
So it worked.
We like laughter. Laughter is a medicine that we can all heal from.
Indeed. And it works on your abs.
It's true. Yeah, see that? He's working the ab routine while doing the cardio. What kind of cardio are you doing?
Today was just a treadmill.
You jog on that thing? You walking on it? What are you doing?
Just a good power walk this morning. Just loosening up for leg day. I didn't want to kill my legs.
Oh, right on. Treadmills always scare me because I'm afraid that I'm going to hit the sides and fly off of it. I'm very uncoordinated, But yeah, so that was Wired for Sound. We had a lot of fun making it. We definitely, I think the mission was accomplished. Make a dark, edgy comedy. That's got a little something for everybody. Kind of different types of jokes that'll make people laugh, and unique shots that were kind of, a little bit on a different level than just like your standard comedy. It wasn't just like your standard like sitcom kind of studio shoot style. There was a lot of like film elements in there. So great story, great cinematography. Shout out to everybody who helped us make that one. It was really fun to see. Like I said, it went on to do really well at a bunch of film festivals. And you can find it, again, if you didn't join in on our watch along, you can find it on YouTube. It's right out there. You just punch Wired for Sound short film. You'll see 2016. It'll come up. And yeah, that was a great episode. We're going to start doing that a little bit more. Maybe do a little bit, kind of change the vibe a little bit as we move into 2020.
2020.
Yeah, man, we're going to talk about, Daryl and I were earlier talking about bringing on some more guests, doing some more, kind of, we call them the deep dive into having a guest on for an hour and just kind of picking their brain on how they got there and what paths they chose to get to where they are in their career. So we're going to dive into that. But I believe our next episode, we're going to kick it off and go right into Vault movie.
Very cool.
Rock that out. That's one that I've wanted to talk about for a while. Haven't seen the movie in a little while now. I think it's been enough time where we can kind of get into it and talk about that. And that'll kind of take us into... I have a film coming up in May that we're going to be making, if all goes well. I'm crossing our fingers. Should be signing a deal in the middle of January, which is coming up. Probably by the time this podcast comes out, we may have another movie on the horizon in May. So,
very cool.
Yeah, next episode maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that, what that's all about, and then get into Vault. We're not going to go too crazy into it. I feel like Vault's by far my biggest movie ever, so it's one of those things where it might be one of those topics that we revisit down the road. It might be one of those things where, maybe we just kind of scrape the surface on an episode and then come back to it and have a guest on, somebody who was in the movie, maybe, something like that. Indeed. Sounds like fun. What do you guys think? What do you think? Do you like that? I like that idea.
It's a great idea. Vault was really good too, so it's going to be... I'm excited to watch it again.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. That was, we'll get into it on the show next week. I don't want to take anything away from that, but that was definitely a labor of love by a lot of people. It took us a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I got to kind of see what that next level of, oh wow, this is what it's like when you have 100 people working on your movie, and
right.
You have 4 weeks of prep instead of a week of prep, 2 weeks of prep, and you actually get to shoot one portion of the movie in one part of the country and another portion of the movie in another part of the country, and you get to do kind of bigger things, and I get to see what that's like, so can't wait to talk about it, can't wait to relive some of that, and again, film people, if you got a movie and you want a place to put it in, for people to see it, and for you to get some great feedback, and maybe win an award, check out the Avalonia Film Festival. Again, the great thing about Google, the Google machine, just type in Avalonia Film Festival, Film Freeway, it'll come up for sure, and you can find out how to get in there if you're an actor, writer, filmmaker. Get your work seen. That's what it's all about. If you make a movie and nobody sees it, what's the point?
Purpose? It's like DJing in your basement.
It is.
Make it and then put it in the film festivals. Avalonia Film Festival.
That's right.
Code word Porch.
Yes, that's right. If you use promo code Porch, you get a little discount. So I think that's going to wrap us up for this week. I'm excited to talk Vault next time and get into that. And maybe do some more watch-alongs down the road.
Absolutely. Make sure you get us on all the social medias, guys. We're on the YouTube, the Spotify, the Spreaker. You can download all the previous episodes on YouTube as well. They're there for your viewing pleasure. Make sure you go on there and check it out. Hit the subscribe button. That way you'll always be alerted when the new episodes are available. And that's going to do it for episode 8 of The Porch. First episode kicking off 2020.
Yes.
With Wired for Sound. And we'll catch y'all next time.
See you next time, guys.
All right.